Welcome to But Frankly Pierce News. I'm Arthur Fairview. Here's what we're facing. Well, it's September, and that means back to school. But let's not forget what the summer of 2022 brought.
An unbearable heat wave. Records primed to be smashed.
I feel like I'm on the sun.
Nearly 200 million people experiencing highs today above 90 degrees, 40 million above triple digits. Some parts of the U.S. reaching supremely sweltering levels. Parts of California, the Central Plains, and Texas, with highs ranging from 105 to 113. And with all that dry heat tearing into open spaces and threatening homes, multiple fires across Texas forcing hundreds to flee. Yet in some parts, the heat is springing water by buckling infrastructure, causing water main breaks.
Summer, one of the top 4 seasons of the year, and soon to be available all year round.
Ouch.
That was a burn.
Let's cool things off then with a look out there.
Space, the final frontier.
Maybe not quite that far. NASA has been trying to get its Artemis project off the ground. The plan is to use the new Artemis rocket to send a capsule with sensor-mounted mannequins and some supercharged plants to orbit the moon and safely return to Earth as a precursor to sending actual people.
People!
The long-term goal is to resume moon flights and establish a colony and start similar activities on Mars. But so far, NASA is calling no joy. The initial launch set for August 29th was scrubbed due to a malfunction on the number 3 engine during the bleed process to get the 4 RS-25 engines to proper temperature of approximately minus 420 degrees Fahrenheit.
It's frickin' freezing in here, Mr. Bigglesworth.
On September 3rd, a second attempt was also scrubbed. According to NASA, teams encountered a liquid hydrogen leak while loading the propellant into the core stage of the Space Launch System rocket. Multiple troubleshooting efforts to address the area of the leak by reseating a seal in the quick disconnect where liquid hydrogen is fed into the rocket did not fix the issue.
Coolant leak! We have a coolant leak, everybody! Let's go! Let's get out of here! Everybody out! Let's move!
The rocket may be rolled off the launch pad and back to the vehicle assembly building while teams assess and correct the hydrogen leak on Launch Pad 39B. The next window of opportunity will come in 25 days.
If they can repair the leak.
Hey, I know a guy.
I don't know. If you've got a leak near the condenser, something's wrong with the Freon compressor. Looks like you probably need a new expansion valve.
Next, trouble with a loose cannon. U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon, that is. She has gone ahead and,
Surprise, surprise.
granted failed former President Donald Trump's request for a special master to review documents seized by the FBI from Mar-a-Lago last month, temporarily stopping federal prosecutors from using those documents in their investigation into obstruction and mishandling of government secrets.
Are you mad?
Yes, a Trump-appointed judge, confirmed by the then Republican-controlled Senate on November 13th, 2020, after Trump had lost the election, has stepped between the Department of Justice and the failed former president in the investigation of classified documents stolen from the government.
Are you mental?
The judge justified her decision because she was mindful of the need to ensure at least the appearance of fairness and integrity under these extraordinary circumstances presented.
Are you totally deranged?
The idea that Cannon felt obliged to reassure MAGA Republicans that Trump is being treated fairly, rather than the rest of us that the rule of law is being protected, redefines the American public and American principles.
Some people are really fucking stupid.
And President Biden called out those people recently in a speech to the American people from Philadelphia.
What's happening in our country today is not normal. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
Yesterday, we learned that FBI agents found a document detailing the military defenses of a foreign government, including its nuclear capabilities, during last month's search of Mar-a-Lago. What is at stake here is not simply information about the U.S., or even information about the way our leaders conceive what is best for the U.S. What is at stake is the security of the U.S. and our democratic allies. Some of the documents they found were so highly restricted that they required special clearances on a need-to-know basis.
You're on a need-to-know basis, and you don't need to know.
Yet Trump kept them in boxes at Mar-a-Lago. The situation is extraordinary.
That's one word for it.
I could think of another word.
And speaking of MAGA Republicans, Senator Marco Rubio yesterday demonstrated his loyalty to Trump when he referred to Trump's theft and mishandling of the documents as a fight over storage of documents. Rubio is the top Republican on the Senate Intelligence Committee.
For now.
As we continue to pull on this thread, once again, the FBI and DOJ are under pressure to release documents pertaining to some of the activity.
Whoa. Didn't we cover this story last show?
We love the enthusiasm, but it's not like there's no new news.
If I may continue. No. Mickey Dolenz, the last surviving member of the 1960s band, The Monkees, is suing the FBI to get any files and reports generated by the Bureau over the years pertaining to him, his deceased bandmates, or the band more generally. In the complaint, Dolenz's attorneys say the musician submitted a Freedom of Information Act request on June 14th. After receiving an automated notice of receipt from the agency, he has received no further responses. Dolenz alleges that during the height of the band's fame, the group interacted with other musicians and artists who were known to be tracked by the FBI, including the Beatles and Jimi Hendrix.
That's some good company.
The FBI website does state that references to the band appear in two places in the FBI files: a 1967 Los Angeles field office memorandum on anti-Vietnam War activities, and a second document redacted entirely.
How can there be a reference if it was entirely redacted?
Good question.
The site includes a PDF of the latter documents, written on March 26, 1967, in reference to the band's tour in the U.S. The report states the band projected subliminal messages, which mirrored left-wing political leanings. These messages included riots in Berkeley, anti-U.S. messages on the war in Vietnam, racial riots in Selma, Alabama, and similar messages, which had received unfavorable response from the audience. When asked for further comment on what steps were next for him, Dolenz replied, "Take the last train across." Moving on. While many of us love a sequel, sometimes they are not as good as the original.
Now take your little munchkin voice and go away. Shoo, 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 shoo.
Listen up! This is the proper procedure for administering oxygen.
Now that is the way it's done in Captain Harris's precinct.
Never seems to stop them from coming out.
All too true.
Well, how about this for an upcoming title? Constitutional Convention 2, The Great Rewrite.
Was the book any good?
According to the New York Times, Rep. Jody Arrington, a conservative Texas Republican, believes it is well past time for something the nation has not experienced for more than 2 centuries: a debate over rewriting the Constitution.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I think the states are due a convention, said Arrington, who in July introduced legislation to tally applications for a convention when enough states have petitioned for one. It is time to rally the states and reign in Washington responsibly.
I have a very bad feeling about this.
So does Russ Feingold, the former Democratic senator from Wisconsin and president of the American Constitution Society, a liberal judicial group. Feingold sees the prospect of a constitutional convention as an exceptionally dangerous threat from the right and suggests it is closer to reality than most people realize, as Republicans push to retake control of the Congress in November's midterm elections. This could gut our Constitution, Feingold said in an interview. There needs to be real concern and attention about what they might do. We are putting out the alert.
Danger, danger!
Throughout the nation's history, 27 changes have been made to the Constitution by another grindingly arduous route, with amendments originating in Congress subject to the ratification by the states. Feingold hopes the prospect of a convention engineered by conservatives sparks a different kind of fire, one aimed at finding a better way of altering the Constitution to meet the contemporary moment, and argues for a discussion on new ways to move forward with constitutional change. And some good news.
Drinks on the house!
About time.
Set them up.
According to new research, getting plants drunk insulates them against drought.
Wait. Did he say plants?
As in vegetation?
I'm a plant.
A plant? I thought men like you were usually called a fruit.
Very funny.
Main crop plants thrived when their soil was soaked in ethanol alcohols, even after 2 weeks without water, report scientists. Plants produce ethanol when deprived of water, so a team from the Riken Center for Sustainable Resource Science in Japan reasoned it would protect them from future drought.
Ethanol?
Isn't that for cars and for ruining lawn equipment?
Ethanol is a neat alcohol. A small amount of the chemical is the same as a large amount of normal alcoholic beverages. In people, immediate effects include nausea, vomiting, and intoxication. In large quantities, it can cause almost immediate loss of consciousness.
What if you cut it with tonic?
And maybe a lime.
But 75% of ethanol-treated wheat and rice plants survived after they were rewatered at the end of 2 weeks, compared to less than 5% of the untreated plants.
I knew a few people in college like that.
More than a few.
Dr. Motoaki Siki commented, as ethanol is safe, cheap, and widely available, this finding offers a practical way to increase food production all over the world when water is scarce.
That is refreshing news.
Just not as refreshing as a nice, cold...
Sorry, we're closed.
This has been What Frankly Appears News. Thanks for watching. I'm Arthur Fairview. The heat is on the street, inside your head on every beat. And the beat's so loud deep inside, pressure's high just to stay alive, because the heat is on.
Yeah.